Hey, welcome to your shop critique. First, I want to get started by telling you that if you sign in to the shop critique package, you will see there is a section with a few videos, okay? And those videos are supposed to help you get some basics down in your shop, such as your shop info here, which by the way, I absolutely love. Great job. You're using Google keyword phrases. It's going to go into your about section and policies, okay? So that way we don't waste time during this live call or this recorded call actually. So we can really focus in on other really important things, okay? So let's get started. Your shop name, 219 Candle Company. You know what I absolutely love about it? It feels it feels trendy to me. First, I could easily remember it. I don't know why. 219 Candle Company, even the number itself, um, something I could easily remember. And another thing is, it's easy to spell, right? So those two are a winner. Now, as far as it describing what you sell, it does. You're somewhat of a candle company, right? You sell different things of candles, etc. So that to me, um, uh, you could easily see that in your name. Now, the only issue I have with this is it's hard to expand from what you're doing. However, you may not want to expand outside of candles, and that's fine. There's other things you could do that marry with it, which is like wax melts and stuff like that, and that's fine. So we're gonna get into some of that in a few moments, okay? Excuse me. So I have your shop critique questionnaire up, and let's take a look at it together. So you've been selling on Etsy for a little over a year. You sell soy candles and wax melts. You don't currently promote your shop. You don't do anything outside of Etsy. Okay. You have made $22 in in the current or last month. You said you would love to make $8,000 a month, and I have no idea how to get there. So first of all, I love that you made an actual real goal. Some people that do this questionnaire for me, they go, "Oh, I'm making 100. I just want to make 200." I'm like, "Really? That's your end goal? You paid me just to tell you how to make 200, which is $100 more?" No, I want to know your final goal. So I like your goal, right? However, I think we both would agree that we have to break it into steps, right? We can't jump to 8,000. So we have to make sure we hit marks in order to feel that we are making progress. And if you're currently averaging $20 a month, I think your first thing should be making $100. Your first real goal, and then you hit it to 500. Okay, then we hit it to 1,000, and then it goes in the thousands, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, etc. Now, just for the record, to hit 8,000, even if you listen to everything I say into this shop critique and you get everything that I need you to get done quickly, it will still take time to get to 8 grand. 8 grand for a shop like yours is a very strong goal. I'm going to tell you what it will take to get to a certain amount. Then that's more realistic for your company. Then I'm going to tell you what it takes to get to 8 grand, which will give you a few out there ideas, but just letting you know that this is what it takes, okay? So, you says you have some plans. I've been accepted to Amazon Handmade, but have not yet started to enter product yet. I would love to get better pictures and add more items. So I absolutely agree. I want to have this on your list. So if you have a piece of paper and pen, please write this down. Amazon Handmade should be your priority. Okay, now at the end of this call, I'm gonna really go through with you the things you should work on first before other things. And that's great, because while I think Amazon Handmade should be the priority, you might have a couple things I want you to work on beforehand. Okay, just some things just to clean up. Okay, obviously the pre-recorded videos in the shop critique package is one of them for your about section and policies. Those because you do it once and you're pretty much done. Okay, so you did not purchase the SEO webinar. Yes, but I still can't stay on top of Etsy. We're going to take a look as to why, okay? So, you applied it to some, but not all. Well, first of all, I don't know how much items you have. I think you have less than 50. Yes. So, we have to get you to have more items, but we also have to get you to apply it to all, okay? So, it's another thing on your list. Utilize SEO in all of them, but I'm going to double check some of your SEO to see if you're actually doing it properly before you start applying it to everything, okay? Don't hesitate to use the private group because in which I believe I see you in there, because I need to make sure you're doing it correctly. You need to make sure you're doing it correctly before you apply it to everything. You don't have the description webinar, no problem. We'll see if you even need it. And if so, we'll give you some tips to get your descriptions, looking good. No, but I think my pricing might be too low. We'll take a look at that as well. You have attached your screenshot. I will take a look at that in just a moment. No yet, but I've been approved. Okay, so you said, I love to make this a full-time business. I've been making candles for family and friends for a very long time. Now I'm trying to make a business out of it. I have no idea how. I've been on disability for 10 years. I need to help get this business off the ground. I know my pictures are bad, but I'm working on lighting for a good product photography. Currently working on SEO. Thinking about adding a private Facebook group for sales. Any suggestion would help. Okay, so here's the thing, okay? So I'm about to start with your critique, and I'm going to give you some, you're currently making $22. So a lot of things are going wrong, right? I think you agree, right? Because you're nowhere near your goal, not even close. So the things I'm going to be telling you in this critique are going to feel like huge hurdles. They're going to feel like mountains to overcome. And they kind of are. Keep in mind that doesn't make sense for me to give you simple things to accomplish, because then how do you expect those simple things to really jump you in sales, right? So just understand that this shop critique for you is probably going to be loaded with information for you to start taking action on. And that is up to you to do. You're paying me to tell you exactly what to do, how to do it, but it's up to you to actually do it, right? So just giving you kind of like a motivational speech before I begin, that you're going to have a lot of things to work on, and I already know it, but you have to write these down in the order I tell you them, because it needs to be done in a certain order, and you can't give up, because it's simply going to be hard. Yes, it is, but it's the path to get you to do this to at least a full time. Okay, and we have a lot of work to do. So the first thing I notice is 33 items, and again, I'm gonna tell you everything, and then in the end, I'm going to tell you what should go first, what should go second, third, and fourth, so you're not overwhelmed. Okay, so you need a lot more items, okay? 33 items is not going to cut it. However, we talked about how you only sell like candles and stuff. Here's an issue with only selling candles and such. You know SEO, right? You've been to the webinar. So I'm going to write in candles. Okay, so I got soy candle. I don't know if you have candle holders, but scented candle, beeswax candle. I think you only have a certain type of candle, soy candles, right? I don't know what a unity candle is. I think they're tall candlesticks. So here's a few things, right? Then I type in candles and I press space. Candles handmade, candles soy. So there's some keyword phrases, right? I don't think you do candles with rings. You might want to. I know it's a very popular trend right now. Candles with sayings, candles personalized, okay? So what you're looking at now is the possibilities of what people want, okay? Now, you only sell candles, so you're only able to use the keyword phrases for candles. And assuming that let's just say that's 25 keyword phrases you're able to use, okay? That is, you only have 25 times to get to the top of a search, right? That kind of sucks. And well, actually it's not bad, but how about you getting a chance to get to the top of a search 100 times? That means you'd have to expand your keyword phrases. And if you can't expand out of candles, then you have to start carrying more things. Let me explain. When you want to get to $8,000, and we're gonna start slowly, but I'm just giving you a heads up. If you want to get to $8,000, you need to either sell more than candles, much more than candles, or you need to work on another strategy besides Etsy, meaning social media, meaning Pinterest, meaning having your own Facebook group, something, okay? And we're going to talk about that later. So expanding your line is super, super important. Now let's take a look at, where is this? Men's candles, mason jar. You only have one mason jar candle. Here's an issue with that. Let's type in mason jar candles, right? So it gets found. However, if you only have one, you only have one chance to get to the top of search, and that chance is going to be low, because the search engines really favor people that have a full shop of the relevant keywords. By the way, I love your banner. Love, love, love. Did you do that yourself? Did you hire somebody? I don't know, but I love it. So you have to have more of this. So when I look at one, I think to myself, that's not really committing. What does status jars mean? Let me take a look. Do you think a customer is looking for status jars when they look for this type of jars? I don't know. I'm not a customer of yours, nor am I probably your target market. But I would suggest this would be called glass, or just soy candles in general. Wax melt is fine. So you're doing it by scents here, okay? In scents, I'm assuming, but over here it's different types of the jars. So this is kind of confusing. I want you to look. Here's the first thing I want you to do. Okay, write this down. I want you to look at your competitors. Okay. Take 10 minutes. It only takes 10 minutes. Look at your competitors, the really popular ones, the ones that are actually making money, and say, how are they, and the ones that only sell candles like you, how are they sorting out their shop sections? Okay, how are they doing? Are they doing by fragrance? Are they doing it by the type of jar? They might be doing a mixture, but what is the overwhelming idea here? I think it's gonna probably be by scents. Okay. But I don't know. I'm not your customer. I'm giving you a little homework to do. Okay. Let's take a look here. Candle. Sorry, candle. Let's just see what's going on. I could tell by the shop name if somebody sells just candles. So this will certainly, so Wax and Wayne candles. I'm assuming they have really great packaging too. So I'm assuming that they might, oh, that's really nice packaging. Look at this. Look at this. Something to kind of, consider, okay? Just keep it in the back of your mind. So they've been on Etsy since 2015, and they have quite a bit of sales. I'm assuming they also have some following going on. But nonetheless, she doesn't even have a shop section, so she's obviously getting her traffic somewhere else, which is fine. Badass candles. Let's take a look at them. Some really nice packaging here. You have a lot to work. You have some competition here, okay? So we're going to talk about that shortly. What am I looking for? Oh, yeah. Their shop sections. Okay. So they sell a bit more than candles, which obviously is okay for them to do, and you could also do the same. Body butter is a great idea, lip balms, etc. But I'm still looking to see if I could find a competitor that only sells candles and how they sort their about section. Okay, let's see here. In the Wick of Time, I'm assuming that's also, okay, currently I can't find one, but I want you to do the research to see how it's being done. Now, when you do the research and you see how it's being done, okay, let me give you another tip, just in case you're having a hard time finding. Your shop sections should be sorted by how customers shop. So I'm a customer right now. When I look for a candle, I want you to put yourself in the customer's shoes. I'm looking for a candle. And let's just say right now, I am looking for a candle. What would I look for? I would look for a Pacific scent. That's how I would do it, right? I'll probably also look for the type of ingredients used. So soy, I'm not sure what else is being used, but that's another thing. So I think about scent, I think about the type of ingredient being used, but scent is one thing that I think about. Okay, so florals, you could write florals, you could write men's candles, right, which you obviously do, etc. So citrus, etc. Do you see what I'm saying? So this is a better way to do it. Now, when you do it, you just don't write, citrus and whatever. You write citrus candles. You write floral candles. Use the word candles over and over and over again. This helps SEO. This helps, excuse me. This helps the relevancy of your shop. Okay? So we both agree that these should be changed. We also both agree that there has to be a plan to grow and increase your items in your shop. Now, before you get into the actual growth of your product line, you have the SEO webinar, so this should help you. You have to say to yourself, okay, I'm going to make things that people want, right? Because if nobody searched for soy candles, you would not sell soy candles. So you have to make things that people want. What are they searching for? It's easy. You look in this bar right here. So let's see if they're looking for citrus candles. They're not looking for citrus, but maybe, I don't know what kind of citrus there are. Candles, lemon candle, floral. I know people looking for floral, lavender candle right over here. I don't know what other florals there are. You probably know this because this is your business, right? But the idea is before you start making these products, right? And start making things that a whole bunch of things, do the little legwork to see what are people looking for, right? So another one is, let me see, candles? No, men candles. And this might take some time because you might not find what you're looking for right away. You have to expand your mind thinking, obviously we know mason jar candles is one thing, you know, and you might not find some by scent, but doing research on what the most popular scents are. Obviously during holiday season, fall, winter would have been perfect, right? We'll talk about your packaging in a second. But let's see, cinnamon candle, obviously, right? Oh, I love gingerbread. Nobody wants gingerbread. Are they silly? Hold on a second. Gingerbread is amazing. Gingerbread candle. People do sell it, but nobody's really searching for it as much, which is to me very surprising. Pumpkin candle. People are searching for pumpkin candle or pumpkin spice. Okay, so obviously those are kind of past us because holiday season's over, but you have to sometimes think of the idea and then type it in search, because if you never thought of the holiday season and cinnamon and gingerbread, whatever, you may never have seen it, right? So when you're growing your line, that's the next thing I want you to do the research to see what type of things you should be growing into, right? What type of candles are trending, etc. Okay, you might even want to hit Pinterest for ideas and say, let's look right now. Pinterest. Okay, let me show you what I'm doing. I'm gonna write candle. Okay. So, oh, that's nice. Okay, so we have some candles here. Oh, marble candles. That's really cool. Um, and essentially what you're trying to find is see what is trending, and you can write these down, you can favorite them, whatever. So right now I see this coffee bean, vanilla and coffee bean. Favorite it, keep moving on. See what these are. Really interesting. Holy moly, look how how do I say this, different these are. I'm gonna favorite this for myself. That's so interesting, right? They're beautiful, right? So anyway, you're looking for what's trending, and not particularly the look, because you have a certain look to yours, and that's fine. You could change your look, whatever. But you're looking for certain scents. This looks like a birthday cake candle. Great idea, right? Because there's a certain scent for birthday cake. And you're doing the same thing over and over and over again. This obviously takes a while, the research of a product line, but certainly important for you. Okay, let's move on. The next thing I'm also noticing, we'll talk about photos in a second. We really need to work on those, but your packaging. There's something I really like about your packaging, but it's missing something. Well, first of all, I thought you said you had a .com. Let's see. Did you just recently bought it? Maybe you recently bought it. And I think the packaging should reflect your .com, 219 Candle Company. Here's what I recommend, and maybe not right now, but in my shop critique package, I actually well, I really like your banner. There's something that's really right about your banner. It just looks good. Okay? I don't know who designed it, but I wish your branding matched this. I wish you had a sticker just like this one that wrapped around your candle, and I wish the scent was on here. So essentially, where's your candles? One second. Men's candles. Okay, so here you would have this sticker if you can. I'm not saying you have to. And then it would have the 219 Candle Company, and underneath would have the scent, whiskey, for example. That's a really interesting scent, by the way. Okay, that's really interesting. Anyway, so your house will smell like it's drunk. All right, so there's work that needs to be done on your packaging. So write that down. And I'm not saying that, okay, so we have to spice it up, whatever. This takes time, thinking about how it's going to match your branding. I have a free branding webinar. You could obviously take it to help you. That does not mean you can obviously change your banner if you wanted to. I do like this 219 with the candle in it. I think it's cool. I think the 9 and the 2 could be refined. It doesn't match the 219 over here, so things are not matching here. So I don't feel like I feel like it's a brand up here. And when I come down here, it's lacking, okay? So I feel like it could be refined better, all right? So forget those for a second. When looking at this, again, there's something right about it, but it's not quite working. It's blending in with the candle. I can't see where the label starts and ends, and not that you have to, it's like almost there, but it's not. Okay, so there has to be some work on that end. Now, I do include a free video in the Shop Critique package that allows you to make your own logo and such. You can play around with that if you want. However, after you do that, everything has to match. And if you don't want to, I'd recommend hiring it out. Okay? So, moving on. Your photos. I said you said you had trouble with the photos. Here's what I want you to do. Okay? Soy candles. This helps you understand what your photos should look like. Okay? So currently, let me open your shop. Here it is. Okay? Currently, your photos are cut off. I can't see the top of the item in some of them. They're at this weird angle. They're not straight on, right? They're not at the eye level of the candle. They're like a little bit above. When you look here, this one is straight ahead. That's what I prefer for you, okay? If you're going to do it angled, do it on purpose. Like these look like they're on purpose to angle, right? Because they're trying to show packaging. But the packaging is right here, okay? So your photos angle's weird. I think it should be straight on. The next thing I am noticing, hold on a second. Okay, this lighting is really off. So are these. There is some lighting issues here. Okay, but you could simply take, well, this angle is weird, but you could simply take this and, how do I say this? You could take this, and the quality of the photo is also not good. It seems a little bit blurry. But brighten it in a photo editing program. So something else you want to consider after you take a photo, okay? So photos should be straight on, much more, it looks very grainy, so much more focused, okay? So you're trying to achieve this white. However, what the issue you also have is that there's no other color in your photo. Literally, it's all white on white on white. And what you need to do, and this is just my recommendation, people want to see color sometimes. So, while you have this whiskey, what color is whiskey? This dark burnt orange, am I right? I don't know. Maybe you should color these. And I'm not sure if you want to, if your customers care that you do, but that's one thing you might want to consider, The cinnamon should be colored also the cinnamon color. Apple should be colored apple color. Toasted marshmallow probably should stay like this color, maybe a little bit more toasted looking. Does that make sense? Because not only, so people say that they eat with their eyes. Same thing. They sometimes smell with their eyes and they want to see that cinnamon color. Otherwise, it looks like it's not really cinnamon. Okay? So I know that sounds ridiculous, but it's what people want. So these should have coloring in them, I think. Doing so helps with your photos. You will not have white on white in a, cap. You will have this nice contrast, okay? This really nice contrast that you're playing with, because currently you don't, all right? So that's my suggestions for the photos. Having them straight ahead, you should be at eye level with them. The lighting should be worked on, and if not, it should be a photo editing program afterwards, but your candles itself, you need color in them, okay? You're not pushing that you're organic or anything like that. So I don't see why not put color, you know? Um, yeah, same here. They just look so sad. You know, what color would be bonfire bliss? I don't know. But cotton candy, it's like dying for it to have a swirl in here of some sort. I don't know if you're able to do swirls. In my sister does candles, but she hasn't done them for a while. So I don't know if you're able to, but blue and pink need to be in here, right? Cinnamon vanilla needs to be very, very light orange, right? Or a mixture of the orange and vanilla. See what I'm saying here? There's some opportunity with your product line. And this will go for anything that you make in the future. Okay, let's take a look at your SEO. One second. So here's another thing. Okay, one of the first things you should be doing, the first things is finishing up all your SEO. Do one, come to the private group and say, hey guys, here's one that I did. Let me know if I'm doing it right. You know, screenshot your title, screenshot your tags, and then we'll give you an opinion. So let me take a look to see this. So air freshener, okay. What is this? Natural odor eliminator. Oh, this is an odd one. Hold on, let me go to another one. That one is boring. Okay. Egyptian amber. What? What is that? Oops, what am I doing? Am I spelling it right? Egyptian. I'm obviously not spelling it right. Or I am. Is Egyptian not a word that they recognize? I think I'm spelling it wrong. No, I'm okay, nobody's looking for Egyptian amber. Scented soy candles. Hold on a second. Perfect. Vegan candle. Mason jar. So here's an issue that I have. You wrote mason jar. Why not have candles in the end? That optimizes it even more, right? Hand poured candles. So here's the thing. You have to overlap your tags. So we can't fit hand poured candles, right? I'm assuming we can't. Maybe you can and you didn't put it. But if you can, put it. But if you can't and you're trying to break them up, your tag should be hand poured, which you have, and then poured candles. Do you see what I did there? I broke them up, but I overlapped them. That's how you become more relevant. Okay? So let's take a look at your other items. Let me look at fall winter since we know that those are popular. Cinnamon bun, soy scented. Okay. Cinnamon. Nobody's looking for cinnamon bun. Cinnamon scented? No. Cinnamon candle. Okay. I'm sure you have that in your tags. Okay. What about well, now it's less popular because we're after the holiday season. See, a lot of the things that you're using, the keyword phrases here, it's not that great because they're so general. What's a container candle? Container candles? By the way, you have to have a space after whatever you use. So there has to be a space here. I see you do it here, but it has to be one here. So you have to be careful with that. Container candles. Okay, so let me look at another item. Not much you could do with cinnamon. Actually, yes, you can. Hold on a second. Fall. Holiday. So why don't you have holiday candles? You know, Christmas candles. You know, those are better because those are for cinnamon. Does that make sense? Let's go to summer and spring. Monkey farts. Let's see if Sex on the Beach is something. Sex on the... Okay. Wow, nobody's looking for that? I would thought people would. Sex candle? No. Okay. So you have items that are not really being searched for. That's another issue of not selling enough. Okay, let's look at vanilla. People looking for vanilla, right? Vanilla candle. Let's take a look. Scented soy candles, mason jar candles. Okay. Mason jar candles. Hand poured candles. Hand poured candles. Hand poured. And you should have poured candles as well. The issue with this, so you have vanilla candle, right? And you might say, Dahlia, I applied it correctly, which you did. So why are you not being found top of search? Well, first of all, it's at 8,000, so there's some competition. Let me put it in parentheses, which I'm sure it's still going to be around. Oh, there's not much. Interesting. Let's see here. There's not much even after that you're really competing for. Now, my question for you is, let's take a look. Sorry, I'm doing like SEO work, so sometimes I might sound like I'm talking to myself, and I am. So you last sold this on, or listed it on December 17th, so it's no longer relevant. So when I look at for a vanilla candle, there's not much competition, okay? So if you were on the top of search and couldn't stay there, it's because nobody clicked on your items and nobody purchased, at least clicked, and your photos are the reason for that. Okay, so while I do want you to work on SEO, what you also work on is your product line as well as your photos. You have a lot of work to do. I'll be honest. And then after all that's really set and complete, you have to invest a little money, in renewing. So imagine you were to renew this and a couple of other vanilla candles. I'm hoping you have more than one. Okay, maybe like a mixture, like a vanilla cream, a vanilla, and I think you do, but a vanilla this, a vanilla that. So you could be found a couple times for vanilla, and when you renew it, you'll bump to the top for only for so long until hopefully somebody clicks on you and keeps you to the top. But if you don't earn your keep to stay up there, you're not going to stay up there. Does that make sense? So let's see. So here's the thing. At a quick glance, your SEO is okay. I saw a couple of opportunities. However, you should finish all the SEO work in your shop. And I'm also seeing that you have keyword phrases that are not being searched for. Lavender, cucumber, lavender. What are these? Soy. It's not really a soy candle, but technically you could write soy candle melts. I'm not sure if that makes sense. Again, when using these little dashes, please separate. In fact, I'd rather you not use dashes. I'd rather you use commas. Okay. Lavender scented. So wax melts. Not very popular. So what I'm trying to see is different keyword phrases you could be using. And I see some, but there's some listings that you have some better options for keyword phrases and some not. And what I'm starting to notice is that if you don't have any keyword phrase to match what you're selling, you're creating things that people don't want. Okay. And that's not the case for you. You're creating some things people want. However, you have opportunity to create more things that people want, compared to others. But you need to expand in other fragrances, expand in potentially other things that you could melt and pour. So stay within your field, right? I'm not telling you to offer soap. I mean, maybe you could. I don't know. I don't know if it's in your field, but something that you could still provide people, okay? That you could still make. Because now not only will you be found for candles, you could be found for soap or bath bombs or um, lotion bars, or I don't know what else you would make if in your field. But so by doing so, you expand the amount of people that actually look in your shop. And when people care about candles, they might care about other, these other type of things. Does that make sense? So you're sticking around to the same target customer. Okay, so something else to consider. Now, even after you fix your photos, right? Imagine you make them beautiful. Even after you fix your photos, you fix your SEO, you start creating product lines and you start to expand things that people want, right? The issue now lies in, could you make 8 grand? Could you make 5 grand or whatever? And that still might be difficult for this type of business. What really sets this business on fire, and this is in the future, you don't worry about this now, I'm just letting you know because this is part of your shop critique, well, actually business critique, is what else are you going to do to bring in traffic? SEO in your business can only bring in so much traffic, right? And yes, you're probably, out of all this, doing this, growing your line, all these things have to happen in order for you to start to make, in the grands and stuff, like 1 grand, 2 grand, whatever. So the issue is now, how else do you bring traffic to your store? There's many ways, right? One of them is obviously getting handmade at Amazon, so you have another source of traffic. So I would recommend not waiting too long to get on there. I think as soon as you get some good photos, then you should go on there. Even if you have not expanded your line yet, you could expand your line as you're there. Like you could start continuing to add things on there. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is social media. I don't want you to get bogged down with social media. I really recommend in your type of field, Pinterest, okay? Because it's almost like it does the work for you, okay? Using Pinterest would be ideal in your business, okay? Obviously with a fuller product line, but certainly ideal. Next is potentially a Facebook group. You would have to have these groupies be following you, like meaning, people that care about this stuff, because when people buy candles, they continue to buy candles as they start to use it, right? So your products should have a good repeat customer base, okay? So especially if they love it. So joining a Facebook group would be ideal to do. Not something you want to do at this moment, okay? You could start it if you want, start adding people in there. That's absolutely fine, okay? But nothing you should really focus on now until you have great photos, until you have a fuller product line, okay? So you have a lot to work on, and this a lot, I don't know how much time you have to work on this, but all the stuff, depending on how hard you work, sometimes I get unmotivated, so I don't work as well some days compared to others, but it might take you several months, if not a year. You might be looking until the end of the year to have a lot of this accomplished, okay? Because building a product line is not easy. Redoing photos. I mean, when I redid my photos, you know how long it took me? Everybody looks at my photos now and goes, oh, wow, blah, blah, blah. But when I started, it wasn't that bad, but certainly I've come a long way. So I've redone photos so many times in order to get to where I want to get to. It's almost like a rite of passage. People have to do this in order to realize how important it is, and you start to become a pro at it, okay? I wouldn't recommend hiring it out because there's no money for that right now, right? You're not making money. So that's what I recommend for you. So taking a look at your description, let me take a look. Okay, taking a look at your description, I would say, and by the way, wax melts and stuff sell really well on Amazon, so don't wait too long, okay? You have some good things going on in here. I already see it, but it's hard to read through. I see paragraphs. So I want you to separate it, okay? I want you to have, a section that says listing includes, and it has it in caps lock, okay? In uppercase, pretty much, because then my eyes could quickly see what this includes. And it would literally include cinnamon apple glazed donut, 4 melts in a package, blah, blah, blah. That's what it includes. Then you could write details or features in caps lock underneath it. And then you can write soy wax, fragrance oil, dye, etc., the materials of it, and anything else somebody might need to know. 6 ounces each, comes in a pack of 4, like reiterate that, right? Then, oh, cool. All ours include sample products. So this is really part of the process, you know? And you might want to include it in bullet points, not leave it in paragraphs, okay? And then you could write a section that goes how to use, okay? So in caps lock, and then underneath it in bullet points, write all this stuff, so separate it. So you have some good information here, but the issue lies in separating it into readable, skimmable descriptions. Okay, so those are a few tips for you. Another tip for you at the end of this, I don't care for this, but over here you could write, so for example, this is cinnamon apple glazed melts. But they might be interested in the candle instead for the cinnamon apple glaze, whatever. So you might say, love this product but want it in a candle? Here's a link if you offer that. And maybe if you don't, and if it's a popular item, you might want to. Next link would be linking back to the shop section, saying shop more wax melts, and then put a link back to the shop section. Last link is back to your shop. Doing this helps people stay in your shop and continue to shop, okay? Those are a few tips for your descriptions. Obviously, I go into it much deeper and thorough into my description webinar, but this will help you get set up until maybe in the future if you want to get it. But for now, I'd use those tips. So let me start from the beginning and wrap up what you should be doing in what order, okay? After this call, you should easily go to those videos and do the video for your policies and about section, okay? Simple and easy. Now, after that's completed, shouldn't take you more than a day if you really focus on it, okay? After that, you want to, hold on a second. Okay, sorry about that. So after that, you want to change your shop sections to ones that make sense. And of course, use keyword phrases, using the word candles in there, okay? And again, I told you to do some research to see how your competitors doing it. Think about how people search. So when people are in your shop and they go, okay, I didn't really like what I just saw. What else can I look for? These would make sense to them. Okay. The next thing is starting to plan the growth of your line. That's going to take a while. Okay. But something that needs to happen. Okay. And of course, when you plan it, doesn't mean you're actually doing it yet, but you're planning the growth of your line. What type of products you should be making, including, starting to offer soon, etc. And of course, it's up to you, the time on how you start to make them and start to offer them. Okay. Now, I want you to fix all your SEO, okay? All of it. Don't tell me you did some and the other. No. That's not how it works. If you want to see the fruits of your labor, all SEO has to be done, okay? SEO has to be done. You only have 33 items, so it won't take you that long, especially if you've done some of them. Next is descriptions. I want you to fix up based on the little tips I gave you. Again, you have 33 items. It won't take you long. Okay, remember, I'm giving you to this in order, the way that you should be doing it. Now, after all the stuff is done, including SEO and descriptions, okay, you have to start doing the photos, the research. This might take you a very long time because you need to make sure that you do, make sure your photos look really good. In between the photos time, you need to really think about the different packaging you need for your candles. Okay, I know this is going to be hard as well, but again, this is something that you take from making $22 a month over to at least several hundred, okay? Including the little tips I gave you about coloring your candles, etc. Okay, again, you have a lot of work to do, okay? So after all that, okay, you did the SEO, did the descriptions, you did the retaking of the photos, or doing work to start getting to that point. Like, this is actually a nice photo, but the lighting is off in here. That's all. It needs to be brightened, okay? I like this photo. And I think all photos should look like this for wax melts, exactly like this, but a little bit brighter, okay? And then after you start doing that, and you can get feedback from the group saying, this is my before photo, this is my after photo. What do you think? Please tell me the honest truth. Make sure you tell people to tell you the honest truth, because that's the only way you can learn, okay? So then after that, you get your photos done. Again, takes a little while. You've increased your product line. All this stuff is starting to work for you, SEO, etc. Then it's okay. And again, this might not happen until next year. What is your plan for getting other traffic to your shop? In order to make 8 grand, 5 grand, 6 grand, 7 grand in a shop like yours, okay, there has to be another way you're driving traffic. There's obviously a few more ways, such as blogs, paying for Facebook ads, but we won't get bogged down with that. I'm talking about easier ways, such as the Facebook group to build a fan base, Pinterest, potentially email list, okay? But those are a little bit more advanced, if you will. I would focus in on the simpler things such as Pinterest and potentially a Facebook group. Okay, so this wraps up your shop critique. You have a lot of things to do, okay? I give you tips on how to do, each one. Don't be afraid to use our group to get advice, get feedback here and there. That is an awesome way to continue your progress and make sure you're on the right track. Does that make sense? I don't have the paperwork with me, but I'm not sure if you purchased a follow-up critique. If you did, make sure you fill out the follow-up questionnaire and send it to me before your scheduled date for the follow-up, which is 3 months from now. But if you didn't, don't worry about that. And make sure you log in to the Shop Critique package and download the action plan worksheet. It will help you write down everything I've told you and helps you plan when to accomplish it. Okay? So I hope you enjoyed your shop critique. If you did, I certainly love reviews. So if you don't mind going to our Facebook group, the Handmade Mastermind, and letting everybody know, how much you loved your shop critique, what you thought about it, I would really appreciate it. If you're shy and you don't want to, no problem. Don't worry about it. Okay? Again, thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed. Bye.